The first, undeniable proof that dating is being systematically destroyed by modern female behavior is the collapse of reciprocity and mutual investment. Healthy, stable relationships are fundamentally built on a balanced exchange of effort, resources, and emotional labor. Modern dating has become defined by a unilateral, high-demand, low-reciprocity structure that actively poisons this foundation. Modern women, particularly those operating in the highly competitive urban dating environment, have internalized a catastrophic belief that their gender is a sufficient asset to command maximum investment from men while offering minimum effort in return. This entitlement is a fatal flaw. This manifests as refusal to plan dates, refusal to initiate engaging communication, and a total expectation that the man must relentlessly prove his value through spending, emotional performance, and relentless pursuit, simply for a chance at access. This unsustainable pattern forces high-quality men to make a rational choice. They withdraw the subsidy of their time, emotional energy, and resources. They recognize the transaction is inherently unbalanced and exploitative. The woman demands a high-value resource vehicle, the top 5% of men, but offers only low-value, replaceable effort, a casual, passive presence. This dynamic is not a sustainable market model. The result is a devastating two-tier dating disaster. The highest-value men become overwhelmed by low-effort, high-demand women they refuse to commit to, leading to serial, non-committal dating. Simultaneously, the vast majority, the 95% of average men, tired of being treated as disposable options or emotional placeholders, are opting out of the market entirely, leading to rising rates of singleness and male emotional disengagement. The entire system is broken by the refusal to acknowledge that investment requires demonstrable, mutual reciprocity. The second proof of destruction is the epidemic of chronic dissatisfaction rooted in the paradox of infinite choice. Dating apps convinced the modern woman that her options were limitless, a technological lie that radically inflated her self-assessed value and created impossibly high standards for any potential partner. The modern woman approaches dating as a pure consumption experience, an endless quest to find the single, flawless product that perfectly meets a hyper-specific, ever-expanding checklist. This consumer mindset eliminates the necessary emotional mechanisms of compromise, patience, and contentment. Every man she meets is instantly measured against a digitally curated global ideal, and the moment a single flaw is detected, he is swiftly discarded for the fantasy of the next swipe. This behavioral pattern is the single greatest killer of long-term commitment. This intense pursuit of the top 1% man is mathematically unsustainable for the vast majority of women. This chase ensures that 99% of men she encounters will be viewed as inadequate placeholders, incapable of satisfying the resource concentration standard she demands. When she inevitably fails to secure the top tier and is left dissatisfied, she does not internalize the failure as unrealistic standards or poor past choices. She externalizes the blame, attacking men for being immature, shallow, or not serious. This chronic dissatisfaction, driven by a technological illusion and the refusal to accept any man who is less than flawless, is actively destroying the environment required for stable, committed partnership. The continuous cyclical rejection of good enough in favor of the impossible perfect is a self-inflicted systemic collapse. If you are tired of confusion and want to understand the economic and psychological forces that govern modern gender dynamics and destroy mutual happiness, then take a second right now to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Join the PsycheLens community for more intense, unfiltered truths about accountability and market dysfunction. The third critical proof is the weaponization of accountability and the destruction of emotional trust. Modern dating is toxic because men are forced to operate under a continuous high-risk threat of reputational or professional damage simply for participating or for daring to defend their boundaries. The cultural narrative grants women a low-cost weapon of emotional volatility and social shaming. They expect men to constantly absorb conflict, manage their emotional outbursts, and instantly apologize to maintain peace. The old social shield. When a man refuses this deference or attempts to hold the woman accountable for her own poor behavior, he is met with disproportionate escalation, often involving social media shaming or accusations. This is an asymmetric threat. The man faces high tangible costs for simply defending his right to parity. This dynamic forces high-quality men to choose safety over intimacy. They recognize that genuine emotional vulnerability and deep commitment carry an excessive legal risk. They rationally choose self-protection and emotional withdrawal, refusing to invest deeply enough to risk being betrayed or financially exposed. The man is essentially being told, "Your honesty, commitment, and desire for parity will be punished." This environment destroys the psychological safety required for a committed relationship to ever thrive. Furthermore, this mechanism completely destroys the male frame. A man who is terrified of his partner's emotional reaction or social retaliation cannot lead, cannot set firm boundaries, and cannot command respect. He is constantly walking on eggshells, signaling that his self-worth is negotiable and dependent on her emotional whim. This induced weakness born from fear of the consequences is the ultimate killer of female respect, reinforcing her desire to continue the perpetual, destructive search for a man who is stronger. The final proof of destruction is the inevitability of market polarization, where men are increasingly finding commitment with their own gender's market to be a poor investment, forcing them into alternatives. The high-demand, low-reciprocity choices made by modern women have pushed men into two dominant camps. The single-purpose men, the withdrawers. These are men who have achieved high competence and success but have rationally opted out of the domestic commitment market entirely. They maximize their freedom, focus solely on their purpose, and refuse the financial and emotional liabilities of marriage. They understand that their resource concentration attracts low-effort women, and they refuse to participate in the unbalanced transaction. The global market men. These men are seeking partners in environments where the core contract of reciprocity, cooperation, and appreciation still holds value. They are looking outside the domestic market to women who prioritize building a stable life together, rather than the high-demand, low-reciprocity entitlement created locally. This is a rational resource flow towards environments where their investment is genuinely valued and respected. The result is a self-fulfilling prophecy created by female consumerism. Women's high-demand, low-effort behavior has driven the highest-quality men out of the local marriage market, leaving women to compete over a diminishing and often lower-quality pool of partners. The profound irony is that the aggressive, hypergamous pursuit of maximum personal benefit has led directly to the maximum destruction of the very structure, committed, stable marriage, they often desperately seek in their later years. The proof is irrefutable. Declining marriage rates, rising male singleness, and widespread female dissatisfaction, a market system that has become violently dysfunctional due to the unilateral, unsustainable demands placed upon it.